Hey, how's it going? My name is Andy Monroe, the co-founder of Bullish Events. Welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to record this quick video to show you a few ways you can turn your fulfillment events into revenue generating experiences. Now, most high ticket coaches and consultants that are hosting fulfillment events typically write these experiences off as non-revenue generating. They kind of accept that they're just going to host the event, they're going to deliver an amazing experience for their clients, but they're not going to make any direct revenue on the event. And I think that's leaving some revenue on the table. So I'm going to walk you through a few strategies that we leverage to turn these events into revenue generating machines. Now, before I dive into this, just a little context on myself and Bullish Events. We have generated over $10 million in revenue from live events in the coaching consulting space. We've had over 6,200 attendees come through our events. We've maintained a satisfaction score from the attendees of 4.7 out of 5. So now that's out of the way, let's just jump right into it. So what is a fulfillment event? For those of you that don't really know what a fulfillment event is, a fulfillment event is an event on the back end of your business that is engineered to fulfill on clients. These events are typically workshops, retreats, summits. So think of it like this: you have a $10,000 to $30,000 coaching program. Somebody buys into that program. They're now a client of yours for a year, 2 years, however long it is. And when they do that, they get access to 1, 2, 3, 4 events where they go. They're typically implementation style events. So they'll go and you'll solve a specific problem or a specific set of problems. And the event is kind of just focused on fulfillment and implementation. There's usually not a pitch or an offer at these events. Sometimes we've played around with that. If there's a higher ticket option, maybe the program is $10,000 and then you have a $45,000 offer for people that are getting a lot of value out of your $10,000 offer. But we typically stay away from pitching at these events just to keep them focused on value and fulfillment. But that is kind of a rough idea of what a fulfillment event is. So since these events are focused on fulfillment, how do you make them make sense financially? Option one is to just lean into the LTV, decrease churn, community building, marketing assets, which is incredibly valuable. I'm actually going to talk about that later in the video. But when you host these fulfillment events for your high ticket program, you do see an increase in LTV. You do see a decreased churn rate. Your community is much stronger. You have these valuable. I think it's valuable. You have these valuable marketing assets that you can use forever. You can repurpose the content and sell it as programs. There's like so much benefit and intangible revenue that comes from these events that makes it worth it alone. But you can introduce revenue streams to kind of increase your direct revenue, which is option number two. So let's dive into it. Revenue stream number one: promotions, activation, and upsells. So we're currently designing a workshop for one of our clients, and when they announced the event in their school community, one of their leads immediately upsold into their high ticket program so that they could attend the event. And that was just one school post. That one school post generated $10,000 in revenue just by announcing that they were going to do this event for people that were inside of their high ticket program. So you can kind of see how you can leverage these events as promotional assets, or you can use it to activate warm leads that haven't bought any of your programs yet. You can upsell people from your lower ticket offers up into your high ticket offer. Leveraging or creating promotion cycles around these events is a great way to just to get people in that have been kind of fence sitting for a while. And yeah, that's not just a one-off case. Another one of our clients we work with, they host around 3 to 4 fulfillment events per year, and each one is used as leverage to reactivate leads and get fence sitters across the line. So this high ticket program is around $30,000. So even a few upsells generates a ton of revenue for them. This is essentially leveraged as a pipe clearing asset or a pipe clearing promotion. Whenever you have an event, it's coming up in like 2 or 3 months, you can really do a hard promo cycle to get people into your high ticket program just because like of the natural urgency and scarcity of that event existing. So that is a first revenue stream that we like to introduce into our events. When we work with a client, we're doing back end events. We like to kind of build out promotions and activation campaigns around that event so they can maximize the revenue they're seeing from upsells. Now, revenue stream number two is sponsors. And this one is kind of overlooked for fulfillment events. We even did this for a while. Like, we did not have sponsors at most of our fulfillment events just because we thought it didn't make sense. It's a fulfillment event. It might be weird to have booths there or have these sponsors pitching our attendees as they're going through the event. For some reason, I had this false belief in my mind that sponsors and fulfillment events didn't really make sense. That's until we started doing it and we started to make money and actually liquidate the cost of the event and maybe even see some profit. So incorporating sponsors into the event is a great way to add another revenue stream. And if you think about it too, sponsors are supposed to be valuable for your attendees. If you're selecting the right sponsors, they're supposed to be incredibly valuable for your attendees. They're really supposed to solve a problem for your attendees that you don't solve with your business, your offer, your community, whatever it is. So incorporating incorporating the right sponsors into your event can actually increase the experience your attendees have at your event. And I already made a video on finding sponsors for events and kind of how to approach them, but here's a quick recap. So step one, you want to find brands that serve your clients and don't compete with you. This should be a no-brainer, but if you sell a program on how to flip houses and it's kind of like a real estate focused program, you don't want to have somebody else that teaches people how to flip houses come in and sponsor your event because they're just going to try and steal your clients. So just make sure that they complement you, they don't compete with you. Number two, ideally you start with partners that already exist in your network. So a great way to find sponsors is just to go reach out to people in your network that you already know. The two clients I mentioned earlier, they both have a network of preferred partners they already show to their clients. So when you join, for example, this client that has the $30,000 program, when you join their program, you get access to like 25 different preferred partners they already have in their network, and you get like discounted rates. Sometimes you can get free service, whatever it is. Using those people and drawing on those people to come sponsor your event is a great place to start. Going cold works. Like, you can get people cold to sponsor your event, but it's just a lot easier when you start with your warm network of partners that already exist. So that's step number two. Number three, take a custom approach. So don't just send out a deck with like 3 tiers and hope they pick one. It's like, hey, here's my bronze, silver, and gold package. Like, pick the one that best suits you. That's like so incredibly overused. And I've done it myself, and I have gotten people to buy from that strategy, but it's just like, it feels gross, and people kind of, they've been through it 1,000 times. What you want to do is you want to hop on a call with the potential sponsor and just understand what they're looking for. Like, what's their objective? What can they get out of the event? How much does one client cost for them? How much revenue is generated by one client? So if they were to come to your event, they were to sign one client, how much revenue would that generate for them? How much money would they have to spend to acquire that client elsewhere? So maybe their main strategy is Facebook ads, and they have to spend like $5,000 to acquire one client on Facebook. But if they sponsor your event for $4,000 and they acquire multiple clients, you can kind of like make it make sense in their mind that way. So just take a custom approach. Like, try to like formulate a partnership between you and the sponsor. Don't just like email them a deck and like hope they pick it, because that's usually not going to work. It could work, but I just don't love that strategy. And then number four, understand how much revenue one client generates for your sponsors. So I already kind of covered that. When finding sponsors, start locally where you are hosting your event, then expand. So if you want to go the cold approach, maybe you've exhausted your warm network, starting local where the event is happening is an easier way to just get sponsors to commit. They don't have to like buy plane tickets. They don't have to buy a hotel. There isn't all this coordination that has to happen. If you're hosting an event in Orlando, Florida, and let's go back to the real estate example, and then you have this company that is maybe it's a real estate software. They help you track your transactions on this software, and it's built specifically for people that are flipping houses. That's just a hypothetical. But if that company exists in Orlando, you can just say, hey, I'm hosting this real estate event. It's like right down the road from where you are. I'll even give you a discounted price, maybe because you think they're going to be a really good sponsor, whatever it is. You just use some sales tactics, and the sell is a lot easier because they just have to show up and it's right down the road. They don't have to fly across the country to attend your event. So that's number five. Number six, refer to the sponsor video for more strategy. So if this doesn't really make sense, or you want to hear more about some other sponsorship strategies, I have a YouTube video on this channel. Just go search it up. You should be able to find it. Now, revenue stream number three is increased client LTV, decreased churn, stronger community, marketing assets. This is kind of what I talked about in the beginning. This stuff is still incredibly important. It's important to mention here as well. I know I mentioned this already above, but it's super important. One of our clients found that 80% of the people that renewed back into their program were attending their fulfillment events. So this showed a strong correlation between in-person event attendance and renewals. So just to break this down for you, they ran a study on all the people that were renewing into their program after a few years. And this is the client that I mentioned that was hosting, typically 3 fulfillment events per year. This year we're actually doing like 5. Sometimes they've done 2. So we've tested out a lot of different stuff with them. But they ran an analysis on the people that were renewing into their program, and they found that 80% of the people that renewed into their program attended the fulfillment events. That means the people that were attending the events were renewing, and the people that weren't attending the events weren't renewing. So now we kind of shifted our focus with that client to get as many of these clients to these events as possible so that we can try and increase their renewal rates. And, that doesn't really account for direct revenue at the event. But if you think about how much revenue you can generate down the road with this, it's incredibly powerful. So for them, at a $30,000 price point, if they just increase if they just get like a few more people to renew, maybe it's like 5 more people to renew by attending these fulfillment events, 5 times 30,000. I'm not going to do the math there. That's like, $350,000 maybe. But that's a lot of revenue for them. So you can see the power of incorporated these events into your strategy to increase renewal rates. And then LTV as well, just increasing the LTV of your clients is of course valuable. Like, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you understand how that works. But just when you incorporate events into your strategy, just as you are decreasing the churn rate, you're increasing the LTV of your clients. And then having a strong community is incredibly valuable as well. When you have a strong community and you have this community of super fans and these people on the back end of your business that love you and they've just gotten amazing results from you, one, you just have some great testimonials you can leverage in your marketing, but also they're going to start to refer people back to you as well. If somebody comes through your program and they attend your events and they have an amazing time and they just, they get the results that you promised them, they're going to go and tell their friends about it. So if you incorporate events into your strategy and you can get them really good results at your events, and you can kind of build this community at your events as well, like you can go shake their hand, you can, really develop this almost family within your business. A few of our clients, like, it really does feel like they have a family now at this point. They've been doing fulfillment events for 3 or 4 years, and these people know each other. They know their families. They always ask, like, "Oh, how are your kids doing? How's the wife?" They do events like themselves as well. Like, we have these structured fulfillment events, but then like in between these fulfillment events, they'll go and they'll meet up somewhere else. It can really build this really cool ecosystem within your business, and this is just going to increase all ships. All ships are going to rise when you do this. And then the marketing assets, if you can advertise that you have people in a room in 2025, that is just like a great way to separate yourself from the rest of your competition, just because people can't really do that. If you are not as legit as you claim to be, or maybe maybe your product isn't very good, it's easier to fake that online, on an online community or an online website, a funnel. You can kind of fake it. People do that these days, but you can't really fake getting 50 people in a room or 100 people in a room or 150 people in a room. That's just incredibly valuable these days. It's a great way to position yourself as a legit, real business that delivers great results in the coaching consulting industry in 2025. And then the last thing I want to mention too is, like, you can film these events and like sell them as programs. If you want to just film these events and like you can plug it into the back end of your program to increase the value, or you can create different products based on these events and sell them as lower ticket items. There's just so much possibility when it comes to repurposing the content from these events that can increase the amount of revenue you generate. So that is the 3 strategies that we typically deploy for these fulfillment events. The first is promotions, activation, and upsells. Number 2 is sponsorships. Number 3 is increased client LTV, decreased churn, stronger community, marketing assets, all that amazing stuff. So that is the video. I just wanted to make this quick video to show you a few strategies we use to turn our fulfillment events into revenue generating machines, experiences. Now, if you are a high ticket coach or consultant that wants to start hosting fulfillment events or acquisition events for your business, click the link down below in the description. We run a full done for you business where we take care of everything: the marketing, the monetization, the logistics, the design, the sponsorships, everything that has to do with your event, we take care of, so you can just focus on what you do best. If that is interesting to you, if you want to potentially explore an opportunity where we work together, click the link down below in our description. Also, if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.